Today, we're going to dig in deep, some practical ways that we can set an atmosphere in our homes that makes our home a place that our children want to spend time, a place where we want to spend time and our husband wants to be as well. Welcome back. Last week we chatted all about how mama can set the tone of her home by being a thermostat rather than a thermometer. And if you missed that, I will link that video. You can go check that out because that sets the tone for everything else. But let's assume that mama's back to being that thermostat. We're going to return to the experience of being gathered around a hearth or a fire and the crackle and the pop, that multi-sensory experience that we talked about. Today, we're going to dig in deep to some practical ways that we can set an atmosphere in our homes that makes our home a place that our children want to spend time, a place where we want to spend time and our husband wants to be as well. How do we do that? There are a lot of practical things that we can do, and the list that we're going to talk about today is certainly not exhaustive, but I think it's a great start. Here's the thing about home atmosphere. It is personal to your family. It is not that everyone's home atmosphere needs to look the same. We don't need to prioritize all of the same things. We are going to have individual homes that serve our individual families. So as we go through these lists, I want you to think about yourself, your personality, the things you love, your energy levels, your children, what they prefer. Are they extroverted or introverted? How do they refresh and recharge? Your husband, what does he appreciate? What does he prioritize? These are the things I want you to be thinking about as we go through this list so that you can take what we talk about here today and you can apply it to your very own life in a very personal way that is uniquely you. And on top of that, consider the season you are in, because each season is going to have its own aroma, and each season is going to come with its own distinct joys and challenges. So keep that in mind as well. You may have all littles, you may have all teens, you may have an empty nest and you want your grandchildren coming back. So keep in mind your particular season as you think through some of these ideas. The first thing I want you to do before I get into the very practical things is this. I want you to close your eyes and imagine your home when you were growing up. What did it smell like? How did the light come in? If it was a tumultuous growing up, what were the moments that brought you the most peace? If it was a beautiful childhood, what were your favorite parts, your favorite foods, maybe a certain look that your mom gave you, maybe a certain time of day, a certain place in your home, a certain activity? Think through those things, because our atmosphere does not need to be 100% perfect at all times. It's not going to be in this fallen world. But we take away from us these sort of highlight reel, don't we? What we look back on is not always the day in, day out specifics. It's sort of this general sense, or we might get a certain picture in our minds. Those little snippets that we remember as children, that's what we're offering up. It doesn't need to be Instagram perfection. It doesn't need to be something that is in high def and slow-mo. It just is going to be your very real life done intentionally. So let's get into it. First, let's talk about worship and praise. Read the Bible, memorize scripture, pray throughout the day, sing hymns and songs of praise, read devotionals at supper time. As Christians, the delight and discipline of these things should mark our lives. If it's not part of your routine, don't panic and do a total overhaul. Just choose one thing, like memorizing a Bible verse to add to your day. Build that muscle over time. The more you do it, the more natural it will become. And if you feel like you don't have time, but you're watching this video right now, go ahead and turn it off. Pick up your Bible. Your time will be best spent there. Second, let's talk about homeschooling. You may or may not homeschool. I know it's something that many of my friends, it takes up a good bit of our time. So let's go down that path and how that can be used to really enhance our home atmosphere. The curriculum we choose and our daily schedule or rhythm flow out of our ideas about education, and they become part of the home atmosphere. Several years ago, I heard something from Sarah Mackenzie that we're going to do together now that I think can be a really great yearly practice to do with your husband before purchasing any new curriculum, okay? Ask yourself this question. In 20 years from now, if your child is out to dinner with friends and their friends say, "So you were homeschooled, what was that like?" Off the top of your head, what do you hope your child says? Some of the things I wrote down last year were Christ-centered, fun. We had a strong family bond. I had space for my interests to bloom. It was peaceful and we read delightful books. But whatever your ideas are, write one action you can do off to the side of those guiding words. So for Christ-centered, my action was read the Bible every day and choose curriculum that supports our worldview. Then once you have your actions, you can run every curriculum choice through the filter of the list that you and your hubby write down. Maybe this will mean changing curriculum, or maybe it means adding something, or it could even mean taking something away. It might just mean switching your schedule around so you hit on the things that matter to you more often. For us, this has meant, among other things, that we switched to a less rigorous language arts curriculum one year, and we built plenty of time for free play into our days. It's just one way to help narrow down all those curriculum choices to the ones that will actually serve your family and reflect your guiding ideas and impact the atmosphere of your home for the better. Third, this could apply to homeschoolers and public schoolers alike. Chase those sparks. It was a long time ago that I heard this idea, and I just love it. It goes perfectly with that campfire analogy, because when a spark kind of flies off before it cools down and kind of peters out, it flares up into the sky, doesn't it? We can really take those ideas that spark up in our children's minds and take a second to fan them into flame. Just this week for us, we were going through history, early 1900s, and we hit on the Dust Bowl. And so instead of pushing ahead and going on to the next chapter, today we dug into that Dust Bowl. We watched a documentary. We talked about it. There are a lot of things that we can do to expand our knowledge on the things that are interesting to us and to our kids. Don't be such a slave to the to-do list or the idea of getting school done that you miss opportunities for living learning, organic learning. It's really okay if history doesn't get done some random Tuesday because your child is super into the science lesson. Let's just say it's caterpillars. And you drop everything and find some milkweed with monarch eggs on it and build a butterfly terrarium. Maybe you order milkweed seeds to plant in your own yard. Maybe you go to the library to get a few delightful books about butterflies. That's amazing. That's the freedom of homeschooling in action. And of course, it's not exclusive to homeschooling because we can have this posture towards any subject or interest. And don't feel like you have to do this every day for it to make an impact on your home atmosphere. We're normally going to be going about our days in a more mundane manner. But try to make it a semi-regular thing because it's such a wonderful way to connect with your kids, and it teaches them to open their eyes and really see the world around them. Fourth, let's talk about modeling. Do you want your children to love reading? Let them see you open a book and read it. Do you want them to enjoy preserving their own food? Let them come alongside you as you preserve. Do you want them to love baseball? Play catch with them, right? If you want them to view education as a lifestyle, you can pause to ask questions and find answers. Pause in wonderment of the first tomato on the vine, or the mockingbird, or the sunset, or the stars. So keep learning, Mama. Resist the urge to scroll social media and instead practice the habits you want to instill in your children. Number 5, we're going to advertise. Display the things in your home you want your children to love. These things will reflect your priorities. You could advertise books. Put them everywhere. If your family is musical, you can keep your instruments out, hanging on walls or on stands. If you want to promote gardening, you can keep a pail of the children's own tools by the back door. If you want them to play outside, hang a rope ladder from the shade tree or put walking sticks in the mudroom. Art, put the art supplies in a highly visible spot. Whatever you want to encourage, advertise it. 6th is words, because the words that we speak and the tone in which we speak them affect home atmosphere greatly. Maybe the most influential number on this list. We used to have this poem hanging on our fridge when I was growing up. And it goes like this. It's not so much what you say as the manner in which you say it. It's not so much the language you use as the tone in which you convey it. Come here, I sharply said, and the child cowered and wept. Come here, I said. He looked and smiled, and straight to my lap he crept. Words may be mild and fair, and the tone may pierce like a dart. Words may be soft as the summer air, but the tone may break my heart. For words come from the mind, grow by study and art, but the tone leaps from the inner self, revealing the state of the heart. Whether you know it or not, whether you mean or care, gentleness, kindness, love and hate, envy, anger are there. Then, would you quarrels avoid, and peace and love rejoice? Keep anger not only out of your words, keep it out of your voice. Number 7 is music. It gets its own number. Because if you want to get excited, you can throw on some Forrest Frank, right? If you want to relax, you can have an instrumental, acoustic background music happening. I've cultivated a lot of musical playlists on Spotify just to set the mood. Some people like to listen to music to match their mood. I can do that too, yes. But a lot of times I listen to the music that I want to set the mood. Often we start our day at home with gentle instrumental music or hymns, and then we might play some upbeat songs for our afternoon blessings or chore time. It really affects the entire atmosphere. 8 is a simple one, but it's lighting. I personally prefer my bright light to come from my windows and all of my artificial light to be pretty soft. I think that it sets a calming tone in the whole house. One thing that's become quite the tradition in our family is rolling candles. We order sheets of beeswax and then we roll a bunch of candles to use. Cozy lighting can be especially life-giving on gray winter days. Number 9, short and sweet, but it is smells. Whether you like essential oils, maybe you prefer candles, maybe it is that beeswax smell, or just the open windows, fresh air. Get your home smelling fresh, smelling good. I can't really do artificial scents. It gives me a headache. So my fresh scents come from the beeswax candles, my favorite cleaning spray, which is called Clean Freak. This is not sponsored, though I wish it was. It's from a company called Red's Gone Green, and she creates the most delicious smelling cleaning sprays. So you should go check that out and see if you can get a little bundle. They don't go on sale often, but when they do, I try to stock up. Number 10 is tech culture. This one's a little more serious, and it has infiltrated every part of our society and our home lives. I don't think it can be overstated. Our devices become a huge part of our home atmosphere, and usually by default. The way we spend our time says so much about who we are and who we hope our children will become. Some technology is really fun and it can enhance our family culture and our home atmosphere. Much of our music comes from a phone, or we might watch movies or TV series as a family. Our audiobooks play through an iPad. So I'll be the first to admit that with the siren call of social media and technology and devices, this takes a lot of intentionality. We've probably all experienced the addictive quality of our smart devices. So it's good to put the phone down, put it away. Flesh and bone people in our tangible lives should take priority. The story they're telling, the skill they're learning, the Lego creation they are building, we will never regret looking into the eyes of the people we love. And if we're to give this quality attention for a generous quantity of our time, we have to put our phones down and our eyes up. Because when our hearts are tuned into our families, we will find 1,000 quality ways to spend that quantity of time. In the day-to-day tasks, a spontaneous picnic, an afternoon under the shade tree with a stack of picture books, or a favorite family read aloud, baking, jumping on the trampoline, tea time, hiking, creating stationery, building a fort, the list goes on and on. But man, when our faces are constantly aglow with whatever we've become distracted with online, our relationships and our home atmosphere will suffer. I recently completely deleted Instagram and any other social media from my phone. YouTube alone remains, and I even have to keep that in check. I try to stay away from the shorts. That's my hot tip. Because that endless supply of quick stimulation for our brains is just not how we were wired to take in information. I have been contemplating the idea of phone-free Sundays, and I really think I'm going to implement that. A whole day where I don't even have to wonder if I should get on my phone. It's just a non-option, right? This takes a lot of intentionality because we are addicted to our phones, many of us, and they were designed to be addictive. And so sometimes it requires drastic measures, but I don't think we'll ever regret taking those. But here's the thing, Mama. We are the adults. We understand the absolute brain rewiring that happens to our children. But our children do not have the capacity to make decisions based on what we know will be long-term consequences. That's our job. So when we keep technology in its rightful place in our homes, our home atmosphere and family culture can really benefit. And finally, number 11 is family traditions. These do not have to be huge. They can actually be quite small. One of our favorite family traditions, which actually involves technology, are popcorn nights. And each child gets a Thursday evening a month to stay up late, pop some popcorn, and pick out a movie to watch with mom and dad. Now, sometimes this ends up being board games, but most often it's a movie. Usually a movie that we loved in our childhood or in our teen years, edited down to make it more appropriate. Sometimes I think the things that we watched were less appropriate than what we hope our children will watch. Popcorn nights are super simple, requires very little energy, very little of us. But it makes a big impact. Another tradition that carried on for many, many years and still usually happens is Saturday morning pancakes. This is my husband's tradition, and he gets up, he makes breakfast for the family, and he always turns on Celtic music in the background. So we always get the Irish Celtic music with our breakfast pancakes, and it's just one of those things I think will be cemented into the kids' memory banks because it was just one of those things that happened over and over again. This might look like family trips. You go to the same place every year, or maybe you go somewhere new every spring, something bigger like that. It could be the type of Christmas gift that you get. It could be the way that you celebrate a holiday, the 4th of July. Maybe it's a way that you welcome autumn with an autumn party. It could be any number of things. This is where you get to let your own personal family's preferences shine and set those traditions. They will make a lasting impact. Now you can see how that multi-sensory fireside experience can really apply to our homes. We interact with the world around us through our senses, so keep that in mind as we cultivate the atmosphere of our homes. And I'm sure there are many, many things that could be added to this list, and I would love for you to drop your favorite ideas or new ideas into the comments section. And as you do, remember that each aspects of the home atmosphere will look unique in each and every home, because the way that we enact these things will flow out of the ideas that are in our own individual hearts. And that's the beauty of it. It won't be perfect, but it can be life-giving, even on the hard days. There will be times when we feel like the kindling of our ideas will never catch, and the smoke is stinging our eyes. But in those moments, look around, because there is still beauty. There is goodness. The Lord is at hand. And when we can't get the fire fanned into flame, sometimes all we need is a neighbor to put some fuel on our fire, on our ideas, on our efforts. And that's what I pray this video is doing for you today. So, gather around the hearth, Mama. Come near the fire, blow on the embers, and watch the sparks frolic to the sky. Gather up anything that heartens you from this video today and take it into your own home. And there you can fan the embers of curiosity and beauty and wonder and wisdom into flame in the hearts of those you love the most. We are the makers of our homes, but the ideas that we fan into flame there are going to go so far beyond these four walls as we launch our children out into the world, right? So as you go, take what is helpful, leave the rest, and I hope that you'll join me here again next week where you can be at home on Mulberry Hill.